So let's have a look at disk allocation. Now, when we are talking about disk allocation, the first thing we need is where is the free space? Okay, so we have to keep track of which blocks are free on the disk where our file will get stored, right? So again, operating system comes into picture. It is the duty of operating system to maintain all these informations. Okay, now how operating system will do, let's see. Okay, so let's assume that the disk space is allocated by sectors, and assume that 512 bytes, each sector is of 512 bytes. Okay, so our disk is nothing but, you know, collection of sector, and each sector is of 512 bytes. Okay, and somehow we have to find that which sectors are free. Okay, now here I am using sectors and block interchangeably. So it may be possible that a group of sectors is considered one block. Okay, so it may be possible that the block size is 1 KB and the sector size is 512 bytes. It means two sectors combined to form one block. Okay, so anyways, block is nothing but a logical sectors, you can say, right, where information will be stored. So the job is, our job is to find the free space, right, to somehow track the information about the free blocks, so that whenever any request come to the operating system that this file needs some space on the disk, or you have to create this file, operating system know where to put the content of this file. Okay, what space, which space is available to me, right? So let's see how this can be done. Now, one trivial way and very simple way to store this information. So please note that I am just talking about how we can manage the free space, or how we can track the free blocks which are available in the disk, so that we can allocate those blocks to our upcoming files, right? So one way to do that is bit vectoring. Okay, this is very simple method. What you have to do, you just have to keep a single bit for each block, and if the value of that bit is 0, we can say that the block is not available, and if the value of that block is 1, we will say the block is available for usage, right? So for example, suppose we are having free blocks 2, 5, 13. These blocks are free. Okay, so these are the block numbers, and these are free blocks, right? So how we can have a bit vector. So bit vector say, okay, block number 0 not available, block number 1 not available, block number 2 is available, 3 not available, 4 not available, 5 is available, so on so forth. Okay, just have a quick look that what it is doing. Okay, so simple, a single bit vector, and we just store which block is available and which block is not available. Now the question is, what is the space used by, you know, this bit vector? How much space it will take to store this bit vector? Yes, what is the space? What is the size of space taken by the bit vector? Right, so suppose we are having 16 GB of disk. Okay, so we are having a disk size of 16 GB. Okay, and by 16 GB we mean 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 30 bytes. Okay, that is 2 to the power 34 bytes, right? I hope you are well aware of this calculations. This is GB conversion, right? So GB to bytes conversion. So 1 GB is equivalent to 2 to the power 30 bytes. And we are having 16 GBs. It means 2 to the power 4, you know, that is 16. So it comes out to be 2 to the power 34 bytes. So this is the disk size. Okay, now we will assume that 512 is our block size. Each block is of 512 bytes. Okay, and by 512 we mean 2 to the power 9 bytes, right? So how many blocks are there? Okay, so if we So if this is the case, then n equal to number of blocks is equals to disk size by block size. Okay, and that is 2 to the power 34 divided by 2 to the power 9, right? And the answer would be, if you subtract it, it is, I think, 25. Yes, no, yes, 25. Okay, so there are total 2 to the power 25 blocks. Okay, so how many bits are needed in the bit vector? 2 to the power 25 bits are needed. Are you following this?
Yes, ma'am.
So we need 2 to the power 25 bits, and to store, so one block is of 512 bytes. Okay, one block is of 512 bytes. So if you want to store 2 to the power 25 bits, how many blocks you need? So first let's convert this into bytes. Okay, so how many bytes are there? So if we divide it by 2 to the power 3, so 2 to the power 25 by 2 to the power 3, because 8 bits is equals to 1 byte. Okay, 2 to the power 3 bits is equals to 1 byte. So it means 2 to the power 22 bytes are needed. Can you tell me how many blocks are needed to store this bit vector information? Yes?
2 to the power 13.
2 to the power 13, right? 2 to the power 13 blocks are needed, because one block can store 512 bytes. Okay, and we have to store 2 to the power 22 bytes to store the bit vector. Okay, and 2 to the power 13, it means 8192 blocks, right? So if we are having a 16 GB disk, then we need 8192 blocks, or 2 to the power 13 blocks, to map this free information. Okay, and if you calculate, I mean, in terms of, so if we convert this 2 to the power 22 bytes into, say, MB, so I think it comes to be, I think, 4 MB. Okay, so for 16 GB disk, you need 4 MB space to store the bit vector information. Okay, and it is roughly equal to 0.025% of the entire disk. Is this calculation clear? Yes? Yes, no? Should I repeat? Yes, should I repeat? No?
Ma'am, could you please repeat?
Yes, sure. So, the thing is simple. What actually I am, telling here is this. Bit vector is a very simple method to maintain the information about the free blocks, right? In this, what you have to do, you have to store total number of blocks. You have to reserve bits that is equivalent to total number of blocks, because you just have to do switch on and off, that is 0 and 1, to mention that whether the block is free or not. So if block number 2 is free, block the bit which is at index 2 will become 1. Okay, so 0 block is not free, 1 block is not free, 2 block is free, yes, 3 is not free, 4 is not free, 5th block is free, right? So this is how you store the information. Now what I am asking is, how much size is required to store this information, the information about free blocks, in the form of bit vector? Okay, so if our size is 16 GB and our block size means one block is of 512 bytes, then how much blocks are there? We have 2 to the power 25 blocks. Okay, total number of blocks is 2 to the power 25, right? And you can easily calculate this using disk size divided by block size. Agree? So we have 2 to the power 25 blocks. So it means, what is the size of our bit vector? The size of our bit vector is 2 to the power 25 bits are required to store the entire information about free blocks. Right? And if you convert this into MB, somehow you reach to this level. Why? Because these are bits. If you convert it into bytes, you will get 2 to the power 22 bytes, because 8 bits consist of 1 byte. Okay, so you have to divide this by 2 to the power 3. So you will get 2 to the power 22 bytes. So this much information you have to store. Now, if I calculate how many blocks you need to store, required to store this bit vector, so you can assume that since the bit vector size is 2 to the power 22 bytes, and one block can store 512 bytes, right? 512 is nothing but 2 to the power 9. Okay, so 2 to the power 22 divided by 2 to the power 9, that is 2 to the power 13 blocks are needed to store. 2 to the power 13 blocks are needed to store the bit vector. Okay, now is it clear? Okay, so if I convert
Yes,
this,
ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am, that calculation is clear, but I want to know that if a block is completely empty, then we can say it is a bit is one. But if a block is partially filled, that means
then it is occupied. Okay, so there is no partial thing in this. Either
okay,
there is no information, or there is, even a single line is written, then we will say the block is occupied.
okay, ma'am. And when one more thing is that if
Yes.
we want to search that this block is empty or not, then we have to search from the beginning till that point.
So basically, you have to search for the first one that you will that you will encounter. Okay, so pros and cons we will coming to that. So bit vector is fairly simple to implement. Okay, and it requires although hardware support to do bit manipulation. And if we have the hardware support, you can directly go to that particular bit or the block which is free. Okay, that you can do. And the biggest advantage is the ability to select whichever block can be used to pick adjacent block of a file. So for example, if you want three adjacent blocks to be free, you can search in this vector and you can find that these are the 3 consecutive blocks that are available for use, and you can do a continuous allocation in these in these locations. All right, so this is also advantage. So yes, this is fairly simple and good. You can actually cache this bit vector. So if you are having 16 GB hard disk, 4 MB is the size of your bit vector, you can easily cache it into your main memory. Okay, and you can do the fast lookup of the available blocks which are free. Okay, but definitely you need to write the vector back. So once the block will be occupied, you have to write it back to the disk, because the information should be now updated everywhere. Okay. Yes, so this is the case. So this is one thing. But when the size of this disk increases, right, definitely the size of bit vector will also increase, and then it will become little um, tricky to manage this with the same level of performance. Okay, so there is another way to store this free space or free blocks information, and that is called linked list way. Okay, so in this, what we will do, we will just keep a pointer of each free block to the next free block. Okay, so it is very 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 simple. Like it will require no extra space, right? So what you have to do, you just have to find a free block, the first free block, grab that first free block of the list, and you just travel through that block to get the next free block, right? So uh, for example, block number 2 is free. Okay, and in true there is a pointer to block number 5, right? So block number 5 is free. Then suppose block number 7 is free, so there is a pointer to block number 7. Then suppose 22nd is free, so something like that. Okay, So you just grab the first, you just have to store whatever is the location of the first free block. You go to that free block, and then you can do the link traversal to get next few blocks. Okay. The problem is, if multiple free blocks are needed, then you have to follow the link all over the disk, and this will actually have a poor performance. So in this case, you cannot bring anything in the main memory. Okay, because there is nothing separate thing that you can bring into the main memory. Okay, so what you have to do is, you have, if you suppose you need 5 free blocks, you have to access the disk 5 times to get the information of the next free block. In that sense, it will give a poor performance. Okay, so a slight variation of this linked list is grouped linked list. Now this group linked list is nothing but what it will do, it will just group the free blocks into one block. Okay, so suppose this is the list of free blocks, right? So the first free block will contain the information about, since this block is already empty, okay, it can hold some information for some time. So it can hold information of next few free blocks which are there. Okay, so in block number 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 entries, out of which 6 entries are related with free blocks. And the last entry will show where you can find more free blocks. Okay, so this is how it is managed. So these are the free blocks. And on 61, you can find more free blocks if required. Right? So if you need, suppose 3 free blocks, you just have to do one disk access. In one disk access, you know that 5, 13, and 14 are free blocks. Right? So this is called grouped linked list. Okay. So the last entry in each group points to another free block, which points to more free blocks, something like that. And when all the blocks in a group have been allocated, then use the block that holds the pointer. Right? So suppose the block number 5, 13, 14, 15 are allocated to some file X. 23 and 24 are allocated to some file Y. Now there is no information, right? All these entry will be removed from this block because they are not free now, right? So at that point of time, what you have to do is, you can actually use this block number 2 as well. Right? So when all the blocks in the group have been allocated, then use the block that holds the pointer. So the best thing of this is, it required no disk space for implementing it. You just need to store the location of the first pointer or the first free block. That's it. Okay, this is called grouped linked list. There is another you can say variation of how we can store. So we have already seen our bit vector, right? In bit vector, we can do clustering also. Okay, so for now, we know that our disk block or one block is of 512 bytes. Okay, maybe one sector is of 512 bytes. Therefore, we are saying one block is of 512 bytes. But what you can do, you can combine 3 or 4 sectors or blocks into one cluster. Okay, and then you can name this cluster. So this is the 0th cluster, this is maybe the cluster number 1. And what these clusters are having, it is nothing but a collection of blocks, right? So generally people follow this clustering type of because whenever you create a file, there are high chances that you need more than one blocks. So why not cluster it out? Okay, so most file system group several blocks together to form a cluster, and the cluster could be of 1 KB, 4 KB, 16 KB, depending upon the page size. Now if you remember, you have learned in the page size that 4 KB is the page size. Okay, and if your sector is of say 512 bytes, then why not combine maybe 8 such sectors, which will actually 4 KB in size, and call it as one block or one cluster. So it may be 8 blocks are combined into one cluster. Okay, So everything else can work on clusters. The only thing we need is to, when we actually allocate or write into the sectors, right? So the lowest level of operating system will deal with this physical sectors, but rest entire world apart from this physical sectors can deal with the clusters, which is much more easier to manage and much more simpler. Okay, so you can think of it as a logical sectors or a bigger picture of a sector which is having a collection of sectors, something like that. Okay, so if you remember from our example that we have discussed, if we are having 16 GB of hard disk or the disk space, and the sector is of size 512 bytes, to store that bit vector, how much space we need? We need 8192 blocks actually, right? Now what if we make a cluster of say 4 KB? Okay, so 4 KB cluster actually is very nice because it requires a single access in the page of memory, right? So this helps in prefetching of data as well. Okay, however, the problem is internal fragmentation is now worse. And what do I mean by internal fragmentation? So now we are saying that 4 KB is one block. 4 KB is one block or one cluster, whatever. Okay. So if there is a file which is of maybe 512 bytes or maybe 518 bytes. Okay. So that file is stored, but rest of the space is not used. Okay. And this is called internal fragmentation. So definitely whenever you increase the size of the cluster, the internal fragmentation increases. Okay, but it is not bad if the average file is 4 KB. So whenever user will create a file, generally it is equivalent or very near to 4 KB, then there is not a problem. Okay, or if you want to store large enough files, then also there is not a big issue, because suppose you are storing it 100 blocks or 100 clusters, only last cluster maybe have a chance to be, there should be some wastage. Otherwise there is no wastage. Are you getting the point? Okay, so coming back to our example, so in our 16 GB disk, if we will use 4 KB of cluster, then in the previous case we require this many blocks to store the information, and now this blocks is reduced to 1024. You just have to divide it by 8. Why 8? Because if one sector or one block is of 512 bytes and we are making cluster of 4 KB, it means we can club 8 blocks into one cluster. Okay, so now one cluster is represented by one bit. Okay, so these blocks will reduce to 1024 physical sectors actually. Okay, so this many total memory is required to store the bit vector. Okay, so operating system are using bit vector to store the free space information, but incorporate cluster information also in it. There are file system which will use grouped linked list method to store the free blocks information. Okay, so this is about, so we have seen actually 4 methods: the bit vector, linked list, group linked list, and clustering, in which operating system can manage the available free blocks where the files can be stored or allocated.